Hi, I'm Geo Aharoni, and my project is on the World Food Program. For the table of contents, we'll start off with our general overview, then our mandates and goals, international relationships, current activities, challenges and controversies, article summary and analysis, and finally my works cited page.
The World Food Program, WFP, is the leading international humanitarian organization in the world. It helps 92 million people in 83 countries by distributing emergency food aid and working with communities to teach them how to improve nutrition so that they can help themselves overcome vicious cycles of poverty and hunger. The aim is to end hunger by 2030. Every day, WFP has 92 planes, 5,000 trucks, and 20 ships delivering food and assistance. Every year, at the cost of only 31 cents each, 15 billion rations are delivered. It is one of the most efficient emergency responders in the world. 2/3 of their work is in war-torn countries. Since those people are 3 times more unnourished than those in peaceful countries, they also help people during natural disasters and crop failures and are generally one of the first NGOs, non-government organizations, on the scene. After the emergency situation ends, the WFP helps rebuild and aid development. Ongoing WFP programs also focus on nutrition for mothers and children. WFP buys 3 million metric tons of food every year. Most of it is from developing countries. They buy food as close as possible to the required location, which helps them save time and money as well as local economies. The World Food Program is totally funded by donations. They raised $6 billion in 2017 and have 15,000 employees worldwide, most of whom live in countries where the assistance is required. Although the mandate of the World Food Program is mainly responding to emergencies, they have recently amended their strategic plan. This aligns with the UN 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, which prioritizes efforts to end poverty, hunger, and inequality, encompassing humanitarian as well as development efforts. The focus areas are climate action, disaster risk reduction, gender equality, nutrition, smallholder market support, social protection and safety nets, sustainable livelihoods, and ecosystems. The World Food Program has 2 strategic goals. The first is to support countries to achieve zero hunger. This goal has 5 parts which work consecutively. They are 1. Ending hunger by protecting access to food, 2. Improving nutrition, 3. Achieving food security, 4. Supporting sustainable development goals implementation, and 5. Partnering for SDG results. The second strategic goal is partnering to support implementation of sustainable development goals. International relationships. Since the WFP program is so huge and works worldwide, it has many relationships with different types of entities. They all seem to love acronyms. Governments. International, national, and local. They must request aid. If there is no government, the UN must request. Non-government organization, NGOs. There are over 1,000 NGOs. They range from small local groups to large international aid organizations. They are usually run by volunteers. First responders, national, international, and local. International institutions. ECHO, OASA, Organization of American States, ICRC, World Bank, ILO, World Health Organization. United Nations, UNESCO, UNICEF, UNHCR, FAO, IFAD. Multi-stakeholder partnerships, SUN, GAIN, and REACH, renewed efforts against child hunger. Think tanks in academia, IFPRI, Swiss Federal Institute of Technology, European Center for Mid-Range Weather Forecasts, and NASA. Activities. The World Food Program has many programs running at the same time. Some are long-term, short-term, and many are time-sensitive. Country capacity strengthening. This is decided together with the country and its partners. Increasing emergency readiness and response, coordination of food purchasing and delivery, reducing risk throughout community involvement. Emergency relief. They provide assistance in disaster and conflict situations. They do a great deal of pre-planning so that they are prepared to respond quickly. Food assistance, cash and in kind. WFP is working towards a change from food aid, which is just providing food, to food assistance, which takes into account diversity, long-term nutrition, requirements, and self-support. There is a policy of determining reason for hunger, excluding emergencies, and finding solutions throughout the community involvement. They use various forms of currency such as cash, vouchers, banknotes, prepaid credit, a debit card, and electronic fund, which are distributed directly to people, allowing them to make their own choices, support local communities, and invest for the future. Humanitarian support and services. 50 years of experience makes WFP critical in logistical aid and support other organizations. WFP leads to logistic clusters and emergency telecommunications clusters and the food security cluster. This enables WFP to coordinate and share resources. Operations Database, a searchable database available to all agencies. Resilience Building. This includes early warning systems that let governments prevent crisis or respond quickly when necessary. They help countries manage disaster risk using various analysis methods. They provide pre-risk assistance, such as insurance, tools, and infrastructure. They assist countries with long-term strategic planning. South-South and Triangle Cooperations. This is a system of collaborations between developing countries. This is an exchange of knowledge, experience, skill, resource, technology, and know-how. They encourage community safety and security, learn good nutrition, especially through school meal programs, promote small farms and markets. Countries work on rural improvements and infrastructure. They acquire knowledge in risk reduction, early warning, and emergency preparations. Climate awareness is an important part of this collaboration. WFP does lots of good work. It has had its share of challenges and controversies. The situations in areas of the world that WFP works in are inherently dangerous. Workers face natural disasters, war and violence, disease, difficult weather and terrain, language barriers, and hostile governments. An organization as large as the World Food Program has huge bureaucracy, and it is difficult to manage, especially considering the areas of the world which it operates. Some complaints about the WFP have been about corruption, lack of accountability, not enough transparency, and inefficiency. It often denies that there is a problem and say that reports of complications were exaggerated or groundless. Some examples of controversies that the WFP has had are Somalia, where the food was being hijacked and stolen, and then sold by radical militants, who then purchased weapons with their money. The same sort of situation occurred in Ethiopia, where only 12% of food aid reached the people who needed it. In Afghanistan and North Korea, WFP pays so much for shipping due to the amount of bribery required that only 40% of the budget is for food. In Georgia, the food that was provided was inadequate, unsustainable, and sometimes inedible. There have been issues with mismanagement of money in trust funds, and times when countries refused to accept food that was genetically modified. Part of the problem is that the WFP believes they are not accountable to the public, only to the governments and organizations that support them. And in general, it appears that most administrations are not too interested or concerned about the situation, as nobody has really made efforts to investigate. There is no accountability because there are actually very few international standards and that they are usually not enforced. And because there are so many governments involved, there are many political disagreements. The article I chose to analyze is called Fat Help. Increasingly hungry refugees receive aid not as food, but as cash. It is from The Economist website, which is published on October 1st, 2016. The article discusses the World Food Program's gradual change from distributing food to providing cash and cash alternatives. The article mostly talks about the benefits of using cash without much of counter arguments.